Much like my ability to make it through the day without coffee, my knowledge of poetry is next to nothing, virtually non existent. And I don't know about y'all, but whenever I have started to read poetry, I just felt dumb. I felt like here's these incredibly emotional statements that these authors are trying to convey, and then I'm just too stupid to figure it out. But I tried. I've really, really tried to read poetry. I want to get into more poetry. I've been asking those that work at bookstores, like, hey, what do you really like? Are you into poetry at all? And I have tried my hand, and I'm not going to even list all of the authors that I've tried, but I will give you three books that I personally have enjoyed. And I think this is coming from somebody that knows next to nothing about poetry. And these are just some things that I've enjoyed. And yet, Kate Bauer. I thought this was great. I think it's a really good mixture of humor, sadness, sarcasm. She's got a bite to her words. And I think this might have been one of the first books of poetry that I was able to read all the way through and really, really enjoy, and also feel like I had some type of connection with. All right, the next one. In the Darkness of Shards, Catherine Ann Castillo. So Catherine was kind enough to send me a copy of this book. A lot of her words are born out of recovering from a loss of a relationship. I think there's trauma in here. I think there's sadness. I think there's also hope. Anytime that I've read some of these books where the author's really gone through something traumatic and they're processing it with their poetry, I think that's a beautiful thing. We get to ride along in some sense and experience just a little bit of what they felt. I mean, they're pouring their heart out on paper. But overall, I really love this one. Domesticated Demons. And I'm not going to butcher Amber's last name. I'll have to tag her in here. I came across this at the Louisville Book Festival, and I was at a point where I walked around this whole thing and I was frustrated because it felt like I kept running into tables where there was a lot of kids' books. Nothing wrong with that. And then I came across Amber's booth and I love the whole aesthetic that she had. I picked up this book and I flipped to the very, like, this sounds crazy. I literally flipped to the first page I could find and I read that poem. It really resonated with me. It felt very much like I felt when I was struggling with depression. And she talks a lot about that in here, about darkness, depression, a lot of trigger warnings, but it's done in such a beautiful and delicate way that she's not judging anybody. There's no attacks. It's not graphic. It's more of join me in the trenches, if you will. So if you are unlike me and you have a great knowledge of poetry, what should I read next?